Yeah. Okay. So we're up to Shulchan. You're being up to your base, no? You finish.
Your base.
Your base. So, okay. So we're doing Hilchos Techumin. Yeah. A woman who borrows water or salt, because you can't do it on Shabbat, can't cook on Shabbat. So even though this is a sugya in the end of Beitza, even though it's batal, but since it's an ikr for the Isa, or the Ptera, so therefore we say that they have equal parts in it, and therefore it's they can't bring it outside. Either it has to stay in between whatever shvisa they have, it has to stay within both of their shvisas. Lakach mechavero biyamtiv gacheles. If he took a call, lo yilchenu elam kiragli hanoisein. If he takes a call from someone on Yom Tov, he can only take it as far as that the original person could go. But if he lit a candle or ate something from a match, something like that from his friend, harehu kiragli deshahidlik, because the shalhavitz is eimbo mamish, it doesn't have any mamashas to it. So therefore, it's ki'ilu. It's not. There's no connection to the original flame. Bor shel yochid harehu kiraglei ba'alav. A bor b'yochid is a well, some sort of well of is like the people who own the area. V'shel osa ha'ir. And the bore of the city, Kiragle Anshe Oisa, here that you can only take water out of it as far as the Techum of the ear is. V'shal Hefker, Kiragle Amamale. But if you find a well which is Hefker, so then it goes by the person who fills it up, and that's because. Because he's kaineh when he picks it, when he draws the water, so then he's kaineh. And we say breira. We'll see by Techumin we do say breira, and huvar the mafreya that this water was nogea to this person. We do say breira. We'll see cases of breira by Techumin if he can decide on Shabbos. If he sets an Eruv, like just an example, he sets an Eruv two sides of the city, he can decide on Shabbos which side he wants to use on Shabbos, because we say Breirish, Breira D'Rabbanan, and by Techumin we say Breira. Naras HaMoishchim, let's say you have a river, Mayanos Anovim, or you have Mayanos, whatever, Harehim Kiragli Mamale. The person who fills it is Ragli Mamale because they're never going to Shvisa, because they're always flowing. There's no such thing as them being like in a specific place. If they come in Mechutz Techum, it's not whether there's like a river on the side of the city, or in the middle of the city. It's possible that you can go ahead and fill because they're not going to Shvisa Mechutz Techum. Who did if you open your faucet? Right, if you know you're in a city where the water supply comes from outside the Techum, from the Tzval comes from the Kiner. I mean, I don't know. You don't know how far it travels on Shabbos. The reservoir is outside the Techum. There's different, there are different situations. You don't have to make any cheshbonos. You'd be allowed to go ahead. Now, if it's a reservoir, could be it's like a bore. But if it's coming, usually even if it's piped in, it does go through some sort of reservoir and then piped in, but not necessarily. I don't know the systems, but if let's say you do know that the water came, from outside you have to be choshish because when you turn on the faucet, it's kind of shvisa wherever you open the tap. Even let's say you're out in the field, out in whatever, because that water is even though you can say maybe it came from chutz l'tchum, you have to be choshish for it. Mili mayim bor shel hefker. If you fill water from a bore of hefker, it's chavero for your friend. Harei kiragli mamale. That's kiragli mamale. That's machlokes over here. The svara is because we say that if you pick up something hefker for your friend, he's koine it. So the ish poskin, the Orach brings the poskin will say, therefore, it belongs to your friend. What do you mean? This shita holds that the mechanics of the way that that you pick it up, it belongs to him, as we say, since you have the ability to go ahead and take it for yourself, therefore you can give it to someone else. As opposed to if you can't, for whatever reason you can't. This is in so therefore this shita holds that since really everything comes from his koach, so therefore it goes by the person who draws the water. But Rav Poskim actually don't call it Shulchan Aruch, and they say that it goes by since the guy's kone, the other guy's kone it, so it goes to him. It goes by his shvisa. Mishayil Paris Mufkadim Be'ir Acheres. The Chokumim, and if someone who has fruit, Paris or grain, whatever it is, if he's storing it or by some in a different city, and those people in that city make an eruv Techumin to get to him. They can't bring his Paris. His Paris is like him, and therefore he can't. He didn't make an eruv, so therefore he's stuck over here in this city. So therefore his parents are outside the Techum, so they can't bring it. That's where he has a set place. If he just gave it over to a shomer or whatever to where a storehouse or warehouse, whatever, to watch it, so then it's ki'ilu, it's in the rishus, it's nechshav in the rishus of the shomer. And however his shvisa goes. So if he made a Techumin to get to this guy, he can bring it to the owner. Mishazimin etzel orchim biyamtev lo yelchinu biyadam manos l'makom she'ein ba'al asur yachalelech bo. Someone who invites orchim, it's right because on yamtev you're allowed to carry, but Techumin still also you can't take manos l'makom she'ein ba'al asur. You can't take manos to a place where he can't use it. You can't, for example, let's say, let's say a person makes an Erev Techumin to get to a certain place in order to eat the Suda by someone, different city, different area, whatever, and this guy didn't make it, so therefore they can't bring it to him because this is out of his Techum, unless they were koine it, they were machin it to him.
Then how do they bring them?
One second.
Can't get there.
Right, one second. Right. Something's a little funny here. One second. It's low licho. No, because unless he was sorry, I made a mistake. Unless he was v'zakid, unless zichra lahem e'erviyont. No, so that I guess the case generally, if you're bringing kugel to a kiddush, right? Let's say the kiddush is outside Techum, right? So there, general, let's say your general is your mach. It's the Baal Suda, the person who's making the kiddush, his thing. So therefore, it has gone to shvisa according to the people who are making the kiddush. So, right, either let's say they picked it up for him. The case, either they were maknit for Shabbos, whatever. Oh, can you bring the potato kugel? Something like that. Bishus the Baal Suda. Elin Kane, he said, listen, he's like here, he's mezakeh to him, to them, to the Orchim, because they're called, that's why, because they're mezakeh to the Orchim, okay, you're bringing this, and really, here, it's yours, so they can bring it all the way to the house. But it's the same type of thing in Paris, Mufkadim, it's the same idea. Hashin Tzadiches. And this is like the deep Techumin here. How do you measure Techumin. Someone who wants to go ahead and to measure out Alpayim Amma of the Techum of the city. What is Alpayim Amma? So the sheer, the general, the sheer Alpayim, Alpayim Amma is around a kilometer. It's for Erech a kilometer. It's a bit less. According to Chaino, it's a bit less. According to Chazanish, it's a bit more. But if you have it real shiloh, then you have to get meduktak, so then you could start. You have to get the exact shear and whatever.
An arm is half a meter.
For the be'erech, it's a little bit less. It's a little bit less according to Chaino, 48 centimeters, something like that. The Chazanish, it's like 53, something like it's a little bit more. So just an easier cheshbonos, we'll use 50 just to make easier cheshbonos to make things more. Because you're going to be off by a few meters, something like that. Okay, when if it comes on the Maisa, you'll be more medayik. So let's say it's a kilometer outside the city. Im hayisa ha'ir aricha uktina, if it's like a long, thin city, or shahayisa murubas, or let's say it's a square city with corners. There's 4 walls, 4 corners, but it's not exactly to the directions of the north, south, east, west. It's northeast by south, whatever it is. Holy yesha dalad zaviyos shavos. Since there are 4, even it's a rectangle or it's a square, since there are 4 corners of the wall, you don't start trying to figure, change direction, and we'll see a minute about adding on, squaring drawing a square around the city. You just leave it. And you measure out Payim Amma out from the 4 walls, doesn't make a difference. Hayisa agula, let's say it's round, like, let's say, something like, Beit Shemesh, Rav Shemesh happens to be somewhat round. You will see about irregular. Oisin la zavis, you make, then you go ahead and you make corners. You draw a square around the circle. And then you measure out from this square, it's an imaginary square, you measure out a Payim Amma, l'kol ruach, shenimtza mistaker, the hazavios. So you get a bit extra of the Techum for the zavios, for the hypotenuse, I don't even want to call it the diagonal, that goes out to the corner there. That's still considered part of the city. If it's a triangle, it's in a regular shape. You take the outermost point of the city. You figure out which is the outermost, points, and you go from there and you draw a square. Alpayim Amma l'chol, and then from there you go Alpayim Amma l'chol, out from there, and that's the Techum.
The Techum is always at least a rectangle.
Right. Well, if it's a regular,
either a rectangle or a square.
Right. So the thing is, the difference between Sif Aleph in here is that when, let's say it's a circle or any of these things, is that when you make a square, you always make the square according to the direct north, south, east, west. They call Ruach Mimena Mushucha Keneged Ruach Meruchos Ha'olam Uchavanos Kenegdam. So the Chiddush in Sif Aleph is that if it's a square city, whichever direction you go over there. But here, even if let's say it's an oval or whatever, and you think, I want to get over there, but since you square it, you go by the directions of the world, and you go 2,000 amos outside of that. Let's say it's wide in one part. It's like I have geometry class, the trapezoid. It's wide in one. Right.
In
So therefore, let's say it's shaped like that, then, it's like hilukula rachva. You look at, you take from the wide side and you go draw straight down. Hayisa asuya can mean gam, if it's like in the shape of a gamma, which Chazal also L. This over here it's an L, even though I do think there's some mashmalos in Rashi it's an X, but right. This here is an L, right? Or kakeshes, or let's say it's like a bow shape, an arc. In yesh bein shnei roshei apachos udal alafim ama. Let's say, so if in between the two ends there's less than dal alafim ama, which he says approximately 2 kilometers, a little bit more. Modulin la min hayeser. Then you go ahead and you measure from the widest point. And it's called roichav shebein hayeser v'akeshes ki iduhu mali batim. If it's less than dal alafim, so therefore you look at 2 sides, they're separate cities, and therefore this side gets 1,000, this side gets 2,000, this side gets 2,000. If it's less than 4,000, then you're going to go ahead. Then the 2 Techumim meet. For example, in the case of the kesher, or a case of like a double-sided whatever, if in between the 2 parts is less than 2,000, so you look as if the whole middle is filled up, and you just go 2,000 amos down from there. Right. Let's say it's at least 2,000 amos, 4,000 amos. Then you start at the back part, at the arc or whatever, the furthest point. Let's say it goes like this. It's it's in the shape of like a bracket or something. So you go from the furthest point. You don't look at the middle, it's all filled up. Some say you go ahead and you measure from the place. So let's say it's an arc, and let's say, so if you go at a certain point of the arc, it's the distance between the two is going to be less than dal alafim. So some say you measure not from the actual end of the city, you measure from the point where you hit dal alafim ama. The whole zeshiyesh ben akeshet vayeser yoser me'alpayim. That's where there's more between the keshes and the yeser, more than alpayim. Let's say you go from the keshes and you go straight down. So let's say you have an arc, right? And therefore, let's say at the very end it's the lafim. So between where the wall finishes to the point of you draw a line from the ends of the city, like this. So if the point of where it hits 4,000 amos from the wall and from the wall is more than the alpayim amma, that's when this whole din applies. So if alpayim, the Ramah says that if there's less than alpayim from the wall out to the ends of the city on the 2 sides, then you have that's Techum, and you don't have to make cheshbonos about it. Right. It's the same thing. Right. That right. But yeah, and of course, in any of these cases, anyone can walk. The question is just walking outside the city from one side to the other in the field or whatever it is. But of course, a person can walk in the city however far he wants to walk. Agav, I looked up this morning, the discussion in the poskim nowadays about if there's an area of the city, if you go ahead and have, let's say, tourists of Pesach all around the city, does that, or you have wall, whatever, is the area of the city make a nafkamina for Techumin also? Or is that just a din in Chatzir? Is that considered a wall that you go ahead and measure from that Eruv or not? So I saw that in Orach Chaim he brings that Shmuel Orach said that you could charetz only derabbanan, you could be makel, and you could, because maybe it's a raya from Chachim, I don't know, whatever, that you could consider to us a Pesach as a wall, you could be makel to measure from to Merabe or whatever from the Eruv. I don't know if everyone agrees to that or not, but
It's not just because the air is only a wall in the is that
that's one. Not because also it's not because it's an Eruv, it's because it's an Eruv and it's one Eruv, or because it's a city. We'll see, but it's because it's a wall. It's considered a mechitza derabanan or deraisa even. So it's a mechitza deraisa. No, because it's not a real mechitza. The question is if it's real walls, obviously, but if it's a paritz me'umad, if it's just tzuras a pesach. Well, no, it is. But yeah, it's not according to the Rambam, whatever. If it's paritz meruba, the law of Erevim are. So then the question is for Techum, can you measure up from the Techum? It could be for that. It could be the makom lahakel if you're not talking about your base meal or anything like that. So obviously a person has to ask a specific shaila, but al kulpanim there is a diyun about that. If there's a house outside the city, if there is, if there's 35 and 2/3, which is, ayin 70 and 2/3, which let's say it's about 35 and 36 meters, something around there. If it's started for a year, that's considered part of the city. It's considered part of the city. You measure from outside, from this house and on. And also only from this direction. Just because you have one house in one direction doesn't mean you start drawing the square around the whole city. It just adds on in one direction. Some say you take you take a chut, the issue over here, the shaila in the sif, is, it seems, what do we say? There's nothing karpaf the ear. Karpaf, we say is telebase assignment, 70 by 70, right? So a karpaf is a migrash outside the city, is an open area the city uses. So this was mentioned in Maseh. It says that by Levim, it says that Alpayim Ba'amah. It says that that's the famous. It's the famous thing with Karni Para, whatever. So it happens to be there's a machlokes of whether Alpayim Ba'amah is deraisa or not, derabanan. It's a remiss to this to the Techumin over there. Alpanim is so. Shaila is you get shivim. Do you get a migrash of shivim of a karpaf of outside each city? So the Yishomrim, so that's the thing, is that if it's within the karpaf, within the shivim amos, so therefore considered part of the city, because we give the city a little bit of leeway to have something else out there. Obviously, if it's empty, then it gets swallowed up by outside the city. But if there's a house there, we give it to that. And then you could do another shivim ama from this house. Then you do 2,000 amas outside that. Because Techumin's derabanan, so therefore you would go ahead and give another shivim ama. Alinos is the machlokes over here, and the Bir Lacha does bring stanim lahachmer, but
is going to be made.
Right.
That it's not that it needs to be 70 and 2/3 from the last house within the city, but I guess
no, it's a little bit
particular. But even if it's 70 and 2/3 from the line that connects the two.
No. So the Ramah's talking about something different. Let's say it's a square city. Let's say it's a square city, and you have a wall, and so you go 70 amos outside. So if there's a house just outside within 70 amos, So then you push the Techum over to the house. And then you give another 70 amos to put, if there's another house then, within the 70 amos, then you measure 2,000, you put another 70 amos, and you measure 2,000 amos outside that 70 amos. That's what he's talking about. Meaning it's ki'ilu, since ki'ilu you push, according to everyone, that you go from the house, 2,000 amos, so according to Ramah says, you get another 70 amos besides the 2,000 amos, basically. Right. So you go by the square. I guess it's 70 amos outside the square. If there's a house there, you push it.
That house is not really within 70 and 2/3 amos.
From the wall, right? But you go out from there. Okay, we'll stop here.